Hi everyone, it's Marie from Intuitive Healing down here in Katikati, Bay of Plenty, New Zealand. And Poppy, where are you?
I'm up in the north of the North Island,
Yeah.
a while away
So
from
we've
Marie.
just we've just had a cyclone go through the country. So from up north where Poppy is, right down to where my son is in Wellington, there nobody's getting missed with the cyclone at the moment. Did you go okay with that?
Yeah, we had some flooding, a little bit of flooding, and some lots of hedge stuff to clean up. So there was just property work, which I was really grateful because I could actually partake in the cleanup, getting outside and being in nature, and yeah, it was great.
There's something wild about the wind too, like anyway, getting onto the topic today, Poppy and I thought we would talk about the reunion, uh, the the reunion of the light family. You know, the family in light, and we wanted Poppy particularly wanted to offer everybody hope because there's a lot of things happening that some people are aware of as a collapse, and others have no real awareness of. And so there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of uncertainty. So I'll probably hand over to you, Poppy, and you can just fill us in on what you were thinking you were wanting to share about that hope right now for anybody that's listening.
Yeah, so what I have really been seeing in my meditations over the last couple of days is how much Earth wants our reconnection or reunion. That we have been so separated from Earth, and people have been really distracted away to things that are not of nature and getting quite caught up in that. And she's like really calling us back to her to hold and to ground and to come into like a harmonic resonance with her and the light. So that's like the Heavenly Father and Mother Earth. And then, that's also about us being, we are the conduits that bring heaven to earth through our soul stream, but we can only do that when we're fully connected with Mother Earth and Father Sky, or the Heavenly Father, which is the light. It is like the source light that comes through the sun with beautiful energies for our consciousness. And we're having all these extra plasma bursts from the sun. There's so much more plasma, and plasma is pure consciousness. And so while things are breaking down, including the false time construct, which was connected to the black sun, where we were, which is Saturn, which is over in our disconnection from Earth and sky. Everyone has been sort of in this slavery paradigm, which has been more connected to the black sun, which is the false light, and so not even connected to the true Heavenly Father. There's been a lot of deception, and I myself came back first through the connection with the mother, and then I was severed from the father with physical injury and programming and all sorts of things that had happened in my life. And as Marie so graciously has been working with me to help me clear all of that programming and clearing up my health issues, which is still a work in progress, that reconnection with the Heavenly Father is there again.
Can I just give the visual? So for people at home that's a lot of information for. The picture I keep getting is, and I got another picture just then, was so the human electrical vessel is like the cord, like the power cord, and the plug is down at the feet. And so if the light is coming from the universal sun and the universal light into our power line, and then the feet are plugging it into the earth. So with that's the image that we've got to start doing, is plugging in and grounding in so that the power can come through, right? The light, the solar power can come through and activate our lives. And so the reason people are not grounded and they're not embodied is just this trauma. This is what we're all here working on, is releasing trauma. And it's just blockages in the way of the flow of electrical current to the earth, to earth us. So that's what Poppy's been releasing, and I've been releasing, is all of the sort of blockages out of the flow that's been distorted light, and you know, in the way of connecting fully with the Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And the image I just got when you were talking, Poppy, it actually showed me literally how our planet, our human, our nature has been hijacked so that we're plugging in to this other choice, this dark sun. And it's just really dawned on me when you were saying it right then. And I hope that my imagery for other people to see what your explanation is that the power source has just been hijacked over millennia.
Yeah,
Um, and we didn't know that we were plugged in, whether it was by consent or not consent. We were sort of transferred over. So this reunion, it's inevitable, isn't it?
it
You know,
is absolutely inevitable. And like the depth of that plugging into Mother Earth is to actually be consciously plugged into her very heart.
true.
And
Yeah,
so with Father Sky, who is the cosmic, in the cosmic axis, and he sends the source light to us so that we may grow and evolve into his heart too, and through our heart. So it's actually got to do
yeah.
with the love and the truth that we are as well.
Well, that's the love, light, and the truth, right? That's what that was all about, you
True.
know. Yeah, and so we're sitting in that sweet spot now where we're reconnecting. You know, you're taking it even deeper for people right now, because I'm just talking about the physics or quantum physics of the electrical current earthing so
Yes.
that this body can flourish. But your picture of taking us deep into the heart of this mother, um, which inevitably takes us into our heart. I just got emotional then, because I was just thinking of how disconnected humanity's been from the heart, and how there's been this gradual pulling away, pulling away, pulling away from the mother energy. So gradual that we haven't even noticed how disconnected we are.
Yeah,
But
which means
there's a longing to connect in all of us, you
that,
know?
yeah, that's correct. And the thing is that we don't actually know cosmic love until we are grounded into the heart of Mother Earth and plugged into the heart of
Yeah.
sky. So cosmic love is kind of like it's everything. It's everything that's ever happened to us coming into balance and harmony. So this is what unitary consciousness is about. And it's actually a place of observation, but it's been very different to the paradigm we've been living in, which has been very conflicting. And it's because we haven't had that connection in the heart, it's kind of been like opposite and equal reactions where energy has been taken and stolen and given and away from us. And so in the last journey that I had with Marie, I got the very strong message to be direct with source. That means that none of that can stand in our way anymore. And that by being in the fullness of our being, our whole soul source stream from earth,
And that's
God,
having faith, right? That's having faith. Like, focus is faith in one truth, that that your light is yours, and it's allowed in, and it's going to run your body and being and be the highest version of you that you could allow, you know.
yeah, yeah, that's yeah. I see it very much like that. It's like when we are connected, and then we are aware of ourselves on multiple dimensions. And from this third dimension that we're in, and the fourth dimension, which is the false time, and then going up further and higher into a fifth dimension and going into a more loving frequency, like, and we go up higher and higher and higher, so that we actually are multi-dimensional on many streams. And so we can actually connect in with that, and that is pure love, which is the thing that really makes me want to live and to be. So it's about our being, whereas this world is being very much run on a slavery thing. We've been caught in like the slavery paradigm and the trauma. And doing, and the trauma, it's almost like it's froze time. So because we had to keep attending to the trauma, it's like our consciousness got caught, and I've got to get all of this stuff off me. I need to deprogram. I need to get out of here. And so it's almost like caused time warps, because in the highest dimensions, all time happens all at once. And it actually is like everything's running in parallel, everything. And this is what we're going into. So life will be very, very different. But as the system breaks down, so it's kind of like what's the word? It's a dismantling of the paradigm that we've been caught in. Like it's like a kind of a physical simulation that we've been in, a holding space which has been captured in this false time construct. And
yeah, that's the bad dream of Earth. The bad dream of Earth that we've been living is the one we want to smash, people. we want that to dismantle.
Yeah.
But we've been in it, so we haven't been able to have observation of it usually to see what we've been living. We've just been surviving and trying to survive,
Yeah. And now it's really, really time that we bring heaven to earth through our soul source, like with her. Like if we come into harmonic resonance, then we potentially can calm and be safe within while she's moving and expanding and making a big comeback. So
and that's why we do the emotional release. So that's why Poppy and I are always talking about the journey and always talking about emotional release, because what is disharmonic inside you, which is not in harmony with your heart and your love and your soul, is disharmonic. And so when you release that, you're transforming it, you're alchemizing it, you're changing the state of it, and that immediately dissolves negativity or trauma from the whole of the universe, from the whole of the earth, from the whole of humanity. So you just doing your little bit of healing is huge. It's very, very important to the whole.
Yes, because we are collaborating in it all. I just released my Nightwave report, which is really very much, it's about collaborating in this bringing heaven to earth through the soul source stream that we are. And this is the work I had learned so much through this incredible woman, Marie, who came into my life, and I'm alive now. And even though you say, yes, I put out the call and you showed up, yes, you showed up, but it's a miracle to me because of finances, which this is part of the false construct, is to have that money system which is capturing so many people, because to survive people have needed money, and somehow we also need to transcend that and not let that get in the way.
Yeah, and that's what turned a corner for me this a couple of years ago, probably the COVID years, was the reality of not relying on money and being able to have that natural exchange, and that be the truth of relationship. And that just kind of crumbled away very easily for me. I've always been non-materialistic, so when I realized that I was going to be doing ongoing work with Poppy, I just settled right into it. It was, of course, I'm going to be doing this ongoing donational, for this bigger picture, because it wasn't about me and Poppy in the end. It was about transforming some, like I say, negative energy for the whole planet, and that was such a beautiful awakening for me. To once I realized I was going to be doing that for you, for me, for the planet, it opened a flow, I guess, in my life for abundance. So that's not just money, that's enough food, enough petrol, enough everything I needed was starting to open up and
Yeah.
come to me, because my heart had opened,
Yes.
right,
Yes.
to give, but it was then now able to receive in that same instance, because that was starting to unblock something in me by being generous and being, there's another word, doing it for the greater good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
this is
it starts to just open your flow and plug you in, seriously, because you're the mother is the nurturer. So when you're giving like that, it's nurturing to somebody else, and then that's returned to you.
Yeah. And like, can you imagine a world if we were all doing that? Like, to me, this was what my heart was. Like, when I was a retreat facilitator, people came only because they could pay, and I didn't like this, and I wanted to find ways that everybody could be nurtured and nourished, because the ones that have actually been doing the most heavy lifting, like people that have been used in satanic ritual abuse, etc., that kind of thing, we're often just left, quite brutalized and down at the bottom. And so if she hadn't come and answered my call, I know that I wouldn't be alive now.
I
And
think we really are just angels for each other. We just are unaware until a call comes.
yeah,
'Cause it's not something you can explain. It's not like a known path. It's a choice that just goes, I'm going to do that for her.
yeah, and it's spontaneous, it's intuitive, it's not rationalized, it's in the
It's from
heart.
love. Yeah.
And this is the cosmic love that we were
Yeah.
talking about. This is a love that transcends any kind of love, like
Yeah. So
humanity.
that anchored in me, didn't it? It anchored in me, like it was able to come through because I'd done my own heart healing and my
Mhm.
own connection to the Mother Earth. So that love is coming through many of us to do right actions at the right time for the right reason.
Exactly. And that is how we are moving forward. And this is what
Yeah.
I want to encourage people in. And it's got nothing to do with debt, it's got nothing to do with paying. Like, these are all part of the illusion, and that was part of the slavery paradigm, that the money system was built on the blood of children, and this kind of thing. And so we we go direct with source, we can't let that go in. And like, I I have been absolutely dismayed at how many people I've known in my life that I really poured my love towards. And then when it came back down to it, money was their priority. And it was just like getting brushed aside and thrown aside and cast away. And this is what's happening to humanity all over the world. And so we can restore that, and it starts. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
There's so many we know around the world, and you can feel a little difference in the balance of, I call it heavy to light, okay, or dark to light, but there's a lot of heaviness or darkness
Density.
showing up, density, but
Mm.
it's coming like lancing a boil. It's coming from within to come out, and we're doing the release part. each one of us, lancing our pain and trauma that's old,
Yep,
and getting it out of the body of humanity,
that's right. And
yeah,
it comes out of the body of humanity. It also comes out of the body of the earth.
yeah,
And she is just so, 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 so wanting that connection with each and every one of us, and it's to spend time. It's really like like wherever I am, even if I'm not in the place that I really feel that I want to be, but I trust, I'm going to look after that land, the land where I'm at. I'm going to nurture that, and I'm going to be with it, and I'm going to be observing nature around me, and be connected. And this is the sensitivity of a human being. However, we've been desensitized by informational overload in some ways, even though like a lot of that information has probably really helped us to find ourselves and come free. But at the moment, there are so many distractions. There's like a whole lot of fear bait around here. It's like, oh, all of New Zealand's going to get rocked by a massive big earthquake. We're all going to drown. We're all going to die. And really, what's happening is that the old paradigm is dying, but it's also dying within us. So it can literally feel like a death of some things when
yeah,
we feel that depression or that heaviness. We wake up and go, oh, what's this energy? Um,
yeah.
and then all
Yeah, it's a shedding, purging kind of feeling, and you can have resistance to that, which makes it stronger.
yeah, yeah. So before you were mentioning, the importance of the reunion, do you want to go a little bit deeper into that?
Yeah, I think, well, what I don't ever remember not knowing this. Like I remember as a young child knowing that we were returning, that
Mm.
we were returning to the home, the happy home. And I guess as a child that might have been how I described it. But the feeling inside was that this uh I don't know if it's a spiral or a circle, but just the um return of the light on the planet in its purity and its potency. So yeah, the light that's hitting the planet is literally the fullness of the light now, without any sort of too much space debris. We've had sort of a very clear field from the sun to the planet, and in the DNA that comes in everybody is this time of this reunion. And I think it's like, if I was an animal as well, I think they would have this more fine-tuned, in that you look for your mother. It's quite interesting that I'm an adopted child, because I've had this longing probably my whole life to look for the mother, and that there would be this reunion. And it did actually physically happen for me. But that was felt on top of, I've just realized that was sitting on top of this longing that humanity had to return to the mother. And I think it's definitely wired into the DNA, which is why this is called the Great Awakening, that, it's time that the pulling away from earth connection, nature connection, maternal connection, has been the agenda. And it's horrific as it is, we've had to face that. We've been hijacked and tricked, corrupted. That's the sadness of it, that how could this have happened? And there's much confusion and anger and frustration at being tricked, and them feeling lost. And the good news is, what we're saying is, it's inevitable that you're going to find like a little lost, I'm thinking of it like a little lost kitten
Mm.
is going to suckle up and find the mother. Like, it just goes natural that you, once you feel lost and you move through the emotion of feeling lost, you're going to find your way home. It's
Absolutely.
hardwired. It's hardwired. And so the way home is through the mother to get to the father, because we nearly came very, very close again to extinction on this planet,
Yeah.
you know, and they want to make us feel like it was our fault for polluting the place. And
Hmm.
that's really been a great agenda, but really it has been a mass extinction in order to clear out species so that it can be used for other species. Crazy. I know. Who would have imagined it? But
Yeah.
we are earthlings. We are humans. We are here. So if we're here, we want to get into what was given to us, which was a beautiful planet. And once we plug into her, we light her up. That's
Mm.
the good news. It's like a life support machine, you know? It's like we've all of us being forced to unplug our love from our mother. Then our mother also kind of loses that brightness because we've had to bring the light to the earth, right? It's
Hmm.
like if light is energy, we're bringing energy to the earth. And if we're not plugging into the mother, she's not getting it. She's
Exactly.
only existing on the battery, right? That she's got going on.
Yeah.
We have to work together to sustain her and us as one, because it's just like the trees. When we exhale our carbon dioxide, then they uptake that and they breathe out. So we have to work in this cohabitation, to bring the energy through to the earth.
Yeah.
And it looks like, oh, most people don't care or don't want to remember or don't know how to connect. But ultimately, if you don't take care of the life force of the earth, it's going to come out in you, which is starting to with people's health and their, the food well, that's man poisoning, but the quality of the food might not be as good as it could be if it had more energy, you know, and obviously um, us caring more would reduce the pollution and the inconceivable poisonings and
Yeah.
radiations and things like that. So yeah,
So
it
there,
all goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. And there has been like we've been in a dualistic, as in a fighting, warring type of paradigm, where there's been a fight by from all sorts for human consciousness, because human consciousness is a co-creative force. And so this is why, now when you think about how much people know and how many stories people are involved in and how much chaos there is, and people going off on all these, I'm going to say timelines, because timelines is chronological time, which is the illusion of time, um, into all kinds of different scenarios, because the consciousness gets hijacked. So if we return our consciousness back down, through the soul stream and with the earth, then we can also, she will stabilize, harmony will return, and we can create the most beautiful existence. And so much of that is undoing any conflict or warring or judgments of good and bad and all of these things in our own psyche.
Yeah, it's healing. I just got the picture, healing the nervous system of the universe.
Yes.
That's what I just got, is like we're talking about this trauma has caused so much anxiety and shake, the frequency of anxiety, and it's gone all the way through to the people. There's no And all I can see is it only takes us to plug in, and then all that goes away, and it just soothes the nervous system of each one of us. Um, so I'm putting out the prayer that everybody begins to see things a lot more simply
Mm.
in the chaos, that a real connection that's waiting, that's been waiting, that's never going to stop waiting for you, is how to connect down into Mother Earth, to open up the flow to the solar power, to God, to the universal light, to drive you it's going to happen. You can't actually stop it. If you're going to wake up, you're going to wake up. That's the exciting part. But you can also do some beautiful, wonderful, insightful healing along the way to find out what
Mm.
was blocking me. You don't have to know what was blocking me to my light, and what was, and they're all the programs that,
Yeah.
you're not worthy, and, you know, the competition, like you say, the dualistic, keeping people in a state of low
Sure.
frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So once you realize this reunion that wants you to be connected with your earth and your sky, so that we can really light up and power up and see what this um, fully connected human is going to be like, from love. You know,
Yeah.
this is not an AI thing. This is from source light. You
Well,
know,
pure, good, lovely.
yeah.
Uh,
And to know the difference, um, the difference is, I say, the feeling of, if you open your heart and have the courage to open your heart, and it actually starts to feel good. Because if you think of it like, there's pain there, and you could have apprehension to open your heart from the memory of pain. I don't want to, it's going to hurt. I'm going to get hurt. They're going to get hurt, whatever. But if you do it wider than the pain, all of a sudden it just starts feeling good, and it gets wider and wider and wider. This awareness of love, you're just like, whoa, I feel like I've grown or been
exactly.
stretched, and this big container of of light is streaming in, and I'm just getting wider and wider and wider and wider, as wide as the world. If it doesn't feel like that, it's not source energy.
That's
if
right.
it if it feels like egoically, wow, this is good, this is um good. It's not great, it's not amazing, it's not mind-blowing, it's just good. And I think a lot of people are settling for the feeling of good, and thinking that that's good enough. And and I'm saying that that's how the society has got you. It's got you in a stream, a bandwidth, which is just a comfort zone, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. That feeling like just that good will often,
That's enough,
yeah, will often come because people's lives might be going through a bit of a calmer time, and they'll think, great, I'm doing something right because it's good.
Uh, good is better than really bad, and yeah,
Yeah, so it's still a bit
painful.
of the dualistic thing, but it's not. So look, I have I received multiple injuries from my life, which has been undoing, and it's actually, it can be extremely challenging to live with, but the connection to the soul source stream can actually come over that, and it can bring in the truth, and it will reassure me, and I know that I'm held and I am loved, and I can feel this blissful connection even in great pain, you know.
Yeah,
So
it's like a tonic. It is like an elixir that comes. Like, I call it like liquid honey sometimes, because it soothes
it is
everything.
that it
It
is like,
soothes the nervous system. And I can't explain it other to say that you have your own moments that awaken you to an experience where it's undeniably connection, like you have a moment and maybe pray for you to have a moment where you awaken to true source, and true light, and have everything open to receive it,
And it's
because I
here,
really,
even if we're having floods, and if we're having earthquakes, even if we're having,
yeah,
it's here. And
yeah,
it's like an amazing protection that spontaneously, intuitively, we're just going to be in the right place at the right time, no matter what.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. I just, you know the only way to allow this is to release something that's in the way, in my opinion. So you don't have to know what that is. You just put the prayer out that says, thank you, my beautiful body, mind, and soul, for opening to empty out all of my past pain out of this flow, this light, and put it all into the fire, and then have faith behind that, even fake it till you make it, just build your faith that when you truly let something go, which takes sometimes forgiveness and full acceptance and facing some painful things,
Mhm.
when you work through those and you are at the moment when you surrender it, my body's gone completely pain free, or my life just started flowing something, straight after that, you enter into a flow. So it's like emptying out the dead weight, cutting off the deadheading the rose, the flowers, and just pruning everything, and it gets more life flowing, and you get more in life flowing.
Yeah, it's kind of like everything that obscures the light, everything that stops us going direct with that source light. It's like limitations, restrictions, like the system was built upon conditions. If you do this, then that happens. And so our thinking has been really, really programmed and conditioned. Whereas when we break through and break out of that, there's no ifs and there's no striving, there's no having to try. It's actually just like being, it's like a relaxation.
Yeah, it is a flowing river. You're just flowing. It's
Yeah, it's like
and
a
you
river of
can't put
trust.
your finger on it sometimes because it just is flowing. And yeah, we just encourage everyone to visualize even this beautiful flowing earth, and that's a really powerful thing. I remember seeing a picture of Earth, and it had all these lights, pillars of light, they were called, of each human being just beaming the light that they truly are. And we haven't even been aware of the fact that we have had that much light. It's only recently in quantum physics that they've quantified how much light the human body and the human cells hold, how much power, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, we have been hijacked to this false Lord light that has siphoned planets, and we came very, very close to the end, but we're still here. We're like the garden that's been deadheaded, and we're rising, we're growing. It's like a newness can happen now because of some of that old stuff having to break down and be cut off, and the matrix falling away. So
yeah,
if you're here and you're listening to this, there's growth happening, and just go in and ask the body, what do I want to shift out of the way for this new growth to happen, these new pathways to open in my body to receive more light, the DNA, the receptors, everything. I think we just get more empowered as we have to open up to it.
yeah,
It's gonna come anyway, but it's because
It's
the physical body is a physical body with feelings and sensations. If you're resisting all this light, you get quite a lot of pain and fatigue physically, and mentally. So resistance is futile, and open up and add light, be shining, and be unafraid to shine too. Like, it's unconventional. Is it unconventional to be happy? And I remember looking around when I used to work in the city, and there'd be people, like, I would call them crazy because they were just dancing around and laughing, and maybe I just thought they were crazy. I just was afraid of happiness, and which puts us, a lot of us, into that bandwidth again, which is, don't be too happy because you'll be called crazy, and
yeah,
don't be too
actually,
depressed. Don't
it's
be too depressed because you'll be whisked away to a mental facility or put on medication or something. So just exist in a little acceptable bandwidth.
yeah, yeah. So it's kind of like, if you can imagine, like if we were all an expression of something that comes from a seed, you know, the amount of variety, the diversity is immense, and this is about us being that diverse
And
because
planted on earth
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah, and planted on earth everywhere, but it's about our authenticity, like our according to our own DNA purpose that we were born with, and it's and as we get in touch with that source light, that gets reactivated. We come more into ourselves. And what I've come to see is that the sickness and disease is actually a conflict with our authenticity, and it's the programming that got put on top of us. And so as we discover that programming and we release that programming, we come more into full health and more into our authentic expression, and to not be afraid of our authentic expression. You are the only one who has that expression, and it's needed here because we all hold this part. Like, it's like we're all parts of source. We've got source in us. It's in our DNA. The light that is in our soul is unique, and when we honor that, and it's like we grow up in Earth's gardens together, and there's color and there's vibrancy, there's life. We just start to hum, like, with balance and harmony, and it's like,
And part of that, Poppy, is because you can see it, can't you?
yeah, I can.
Yeah. So this is the there's a part of us, and again, society would have called us crazy for having it, and that is actually that we are visionary. Your child, your 3-year-old, 4-year-old, when they say stuff, they're visionary. They are telling the truth on some of the things they see. And so these children, we have grown up, and we're still visionary. And so I bring that up because Poppy is saying this not from oh, that'd be nice kind of thing, but from a being able to see into a dimension. Women can very much see the half dimensions where a man will see black and white. A woman can sort of see multiple dimensions if we're multi, but most likely another half a dimension. And so we do come from that mindset of um where was I going with that exactly?
I don't know,
I've
but it's
gone
just
into another
that
dimension.
is that we always have a masculine and femininity within us. And so if that's the way that, whether you're masculine or feminine, if you do see it in the black and white, you can actually go more into the feminine and connect with the earth more, and then you will see it in that way. And I think, like, women have had more of a chance in some ways to have that connection with the earth because we're naturally wanting to nurture and love our children. And so we're kind of being a little bit more like the heart of the earth in some ways. And so it's bringing ourselves into balance. But because we've lived in a patriarchal system, which is where the left brain dominated for so long, it was almost like society impression that we all had to see everything as black and white. It's like the Masonic chess table,
Yeah.
and as light and dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's what I remembered, is that the women who were visionary were persecuted and prosecuted and executed and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's still imprinted, obviously, but being able to see not just things that are going on in the negative, and picking up those sort of instincts and intuitions for keeping people safe and away from danger, we're also able to see into the beauty and into the love and into the um, realities of harmony. So
Yeah.
if the spectrum is from disharmony to harmony, where is Earth placed at the moment? It's in a lot of disharmony, but you only have to take a half, and that's what I'm saying. Women who can peer through into a dimension, just a half a dimension more, will see a more harmonious version of Earth happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's inconceivable, and it's real, and it's interesting to look into the parallel lives or the past lives, or the however you want to categorize them, the happening dimensions, and they just like a radio tune that goes
Mm-hmm.
up and down depending on how you resonate. You are part of the radio, you are one of the resonators that will pick up sensations and frequencies and vibrations, and then transmit that too. So we are, with free will, we have choice to just send out what we're getting in, which is the projection, um, or transmute it. And to transmute it, we do need a connection to the earth. We do need a connection to source to be able to transform energy. And yeah, so the woman can see the good and aim us that way, you
Yep.
know, and guide us with that connection, that intuitive, motherly connection that is guiding humanity towards the higher version, the next
Yeah.
half a dimension experience. And that's just natural growth. That's always going to happen. But there's been the agenda to slow that down and try to stop that, but it
Yeah.
is there. Poppy can see it. I can feel it. Many of us go in and out of those states through the day, or through your sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what more light is allowing, is that a more harmonic version of living on Earth. We just get
Yeah.
there. It's inevitable that we get there.
And sometimes, and what I notice too with the Mayan work is that when the frequencies are really, really going up, then we can sort of feel the density, because what's unlike that is
Yeah,
there to be released, like to be
yeah.
basically like reverberated off.
Pressure cooker.
Yeah.
It's a pressure cooker. Yeah, that's a good. It's like a spin. It's a spin, so the heavy stuff is going to fall off. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. As the light comes in, maybe it comes into the DNA like that. You know, and
Yeah.
and
It's
you have the opportunity to surrender all that's heavy and disharmonious.
yeah.
You feel that heaviness and density, and depending on if you are just surrendering it or if you're like struggling with it, you're going to have a more painful time.
Yeah. And it's always from within. That source light is within us. Like it's
It's
like,
like a charging up.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's our central sun
Yes. Yes.
inside us.
Yes. Yes. So like it's like a microcosm of the macrocosm.
Well, that's the heart, isn't it? The heart is like the sun in our body, in our
Yeah, the soul,
yeah,
which the soul exists outside of our body. It's huge, and
yeah,
um, but this body is anchored here because from this physical we can actually we're creative. So we are like a creative force. Like that's the little bit the difference between us and animals are completely under the will of source. Like they completely geared up towards harmony. But humanity was like we were almost it was like we were given a choice and which way and what are we going to choose, because source we can't actually literally be separated from it, but we can mentally be separated from it. And it's like getting all the parts of ourselves to connect in with source so that we are direct with source. And eventually there will not be a money system. We will be able to create whatever is needed, but it's always going to be in the will of source and nature. So earth and sky, and that's where
yeah. Because when you're plugged into the mother, you're not going to harm the mother or the children living on her. You just can't because you're plugged into her. So her values, the values of the feminine, are natural, instilled, and going to be carried out. So that's why the agenda to unplug you from the mother and then unplug you from the mother in your own family. You
exactly.
know, the darker agenda is it wasn't working fast enough. People were plugging back into mother. And
Yeah.
so they were like they're going to have to attack the nucleus of the family, which is the connection to the mother. And I've experienced that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
And
many mothers throughout COVID, have, and fathers, I know the disconnection in
yeah.
families that took place, and that was by agenda.
And also removing the babies from the mothers after birth and keeping them in nurseries and all of this, all of these.
Even with the animals, like the calves, the
Yeah,
lamb.
yeah, it's gone through all creation and it's suffered, but obviously because we are in this great awakening, people have been doing their healing and they have been doing their work, and we
That
are.
that was the first satanic ritual abuse, was to do the separation
Mhm.
from the child, from the mother.
Yeah, but even the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. So it's separation of the masculine and the feminine as
Yeah,
well. So separation from the mother and the father.
yes,
And
yeah. There'll be a whole nother video about that when we're ready to talk about the trans agenda, gender, gender agenda.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah. So
experienced a lot with that.
yeah,
That
because I never had any bonding with any. The first bonding I had with anyone in my life was when my first baby was born. I bonded with her, but because I had a near death experience, and she was taken away, she never got to bond with me. It was severed there. As a child, nature was my only hope, and it was the only thing that would ever communicate hope. And it was telling me, you're going to be all right, you're going to make it, it's okay. So I was connected, but every time I got really quite well connected, then there'd be another ritual which was to separate again. And so it was pressing on and
yeah.
pressing on until until this
I
beautiful work that I could do with Marie to free.
Oh my gosh, Poppy, you've just shown me like the survivors, the incredible survivors of satanic ritual abuse. And I know that a lot of people haven't heard of it, but it exists and you can Google it and you can ask us more. But the incredible survivors of satanic ritual abuse have proven to me, to show me the most incredible resources and abilities of forgiveness and love for the planet, and I said forgiveness, but to heal from this pain that they've all endured. to give more love to this planet. You know,
Mhm.
they're doing it for transforming that energy from the negative, most painful thing they could carry back into light, because they psychically know that's what the job is, to turn the power, the forces of the power, back towards the light, towards reunion, towards source, where it's come from. And so uh yeah, this
Yeah. And
oh,
the
and that what they've gone through has been an example of what's filtered out to the humanity. So every ritual that they went through, that was personally used on one person, was then emulated throughout the world en masse in different ways of mind control and
yeah,
hijacking people through manipulating their belief systems and, you
mm,
know, and belief of self.
yeah. So there
Yeah.
was a lot of experimentation done. The survivors that are speaking up, the common theme is there was a lot of experimentation done on us. Things started in World War II with terrible research that they would do, like how they can take consciousness and split it away and use it for other purposes and all of that. But the miracle is that, and because our frequency was known even before we were born, because of their black magic um, knowledge, knowing the esoteric knowledge that was stolen and hijacked and taken into the Vatican and everywhere else. So many survivors now that I've heard and know that we came from a dimension where there wasn't any war, there wasn't any conflict, there was balance and harmony. And so a lot of us realized that we were part of bringing heaven to earth. I mean, not everyone's made it, of course. And there's been huge losses and there's been all kinds of suicide programs. But these things were instilled into the rest of humanity. And so from what they experimented on with us, they found
Yes.
out how they could also
Take that to the masses. Yeah.
get to
Yeah,
them
for sure.
with
It,
hypnotism through televisions and media and
it's getting more and more believable that this is actually the way that it is, unfortunately, by more and more people now. And that is a huge turn. We've been programmed with all of the things, like many generations will have their own propagandist programming, like the TV shows like Get Smart, just the soft kind of disclosure of the mocking, you know, laughing at the world as they're being controlled. We sort of didn't realize this was slipping away from the light and slipping over to um, insidious programming of darker
yeah,
forces.
when we've
So we
been
are waking up, and
yeah,
more people are plugging in, and they are doing their emotional healing and physical healing and allowing more of that energy onto the planet, which is raising the frequency and the vibration and the dimension,
and
but it's kind of choppy. It's all over. It's like do you remember those records on a turntable? And if the turntable had kind of dips in it, it would make the record warp.
yep,
That's kind of where I feel Earth is. We're kind of in a few dimensions, aren't we, at the moment?
yeah,
And
because there's so many strong collectives of consciousness that actually many get running counter to what Earth's dream is, for her freedom and her place within this universe, which is
yeah,
incredibly vital for.
and those visionaries like Poppy and myself and others who out of nowhere, like it's not like I've gone looking and making these things up, but having a meditation and then being seen to see Australia green, like more green than it is, and remineralized, and know in my my truth and my heart that this was in the future, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and not in the past, and just 100% faithfully knowing that that's what I was seeing. It was like, this is Australia. This is like regreened. It's all good. It all bounces back. And this joyfulness that was sort of like a little child that is so excited because there's, you know, more energy and more play and more life. And that's the feeling I got when I looked in and I saw.
Yeah.
And I did see one other vision, which was kind of more into the structure of building with natural fibers and things like that. And that was like, oh, that's interesting. And also another one, which was, I did get a few visions of people living however they choose to live. So if they wanted to go live in those caves in Greece, they were allowed to do that. If they wanted to build an earth house, they're allowed to do that. You know, if they want to live in a city high rise, then they're allowed to do that. And that everybody wins in the ways that everybody's living in this harmonious earth. It's not just one blanket experience. Everyone's actually created with the power that they've created, whatever they wish to have as their heaven on earth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And everybody's role is so different. But then when we
Just like we've had how we've created our hell on earth sometimes, right? In the past. And it's been different to somebody else's hell on earth. You know what I mean?
yeah, and that hell on earth was disconnection. that was
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
that was like the separation.
If there was a dying, there
Mm,
was no energy coming through. Yeah.
that's right. It was quite hellish. And we're actually right at the end of these cycles. Like it's in the Mayan calendar that cycle really was closing down near the end of September last year, and that we've been moving into this new one, which is just like starting to grow and flourish up
Yeah.
in us the more that we deprogram, basically, which is
Yeah.
taking
We are
off
a
that
deprogramming. Yeah.
social conditioning
Yeah.
of external. They're external. We're told externally, this is how you're supposed to live. This is what you're supposed to do. But when we're authentically connected to source, we are like, I know this is what I'm to do.
Yeah, we ask in here with the heart, we connect with the mother, and then the mother has grounded us to connect with the father. So you just have to go into the heart, don't you, and ask, and
Yeah,
all wisdom will come, all guidance will come, all answers will come,
yeah,
and all energy will flow.
absolutely,
True.
absolutely.
So that's the reunion of the family, is to go into the heart, eh? And we'll be connecting.
It
Yeah.
so is.
And don't be afraid to open that heart, even if there's pain when you're opening it. You know, if you have a good intention to open to source, then you will know they're growing pains or they're healing pains, you know, or they're old pains, and you just don't be afraid of the pain as you open up, whether you're doing that daily, whatever practice you're doing, or just visually. You can do it. You can move through the pain. I remember feeling like I was going to have a heart attack one time when a friend said, keep opening wider, wider, wider. I thought I was going to get sucked into the black hole of my heart. You know, it's quite dramatic for some people, but nothing happens. All you do is you fall into love. You're basically trying to keep yourself out of this swimming pool of love, and you're doing everything you can in life to stay out of this portal of
Yeah,
light, this love. You don't know what it is. So
yeah,
you're trying to not go into it, but it's like you've just got to fall into it, and you realize nothing bad happens.
yeah. And the frequency of the heart is far, 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 far bigger, more than the mind. In fact, the mind can no longer keep up because of the quickening of time
Yeah.
on this dimension I'm talking about.
That's why it feels like a portal. When you open the heart, it feels like you've gone through a portal
Yeah,
because
you literally
you're in a bigger space.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
fully, fully fully on that soul source stream. And so, like, as we're both talking at the moment, we're often talking from ourselves on a higher dimension, which is all a part of ourself, of the whole. So
and I can feel us connected at the heart.
yes.
Right now. It's quite interesting because Poppy had a heart attack. Gosh, how long ago was that?
Almost July 2023. Oh,
And 24.
24, yeah.
We connected that day because we had been connecting in the heart, doing the work that we were doing, and so I had this like electric shock, and immediately just thought, is that me? Is that my mum? Who? What? No. Oh, is it Poppy? Yes. And my son came down, and I was on the phone, and I was in the middle of a video call, and I was all go, and I had this sensation, and I rang Poppy and I said, are you okay?
And I was,
And,
until a
and
few
the answer was, and
yeah.
then
And then a few hours later, I was outside and I was just trying to connect and ground with the earth, because I could feel a very strong frequency or energy. It was really, really tough, and I couldn't get my blood pressure down at all. And then my heart, I started to, I could feel it coming, kind of thing. And I actually sent a message to Marie and said, help, I'm under attack. Heart attack.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and I did end up going to hospital. I had a very healthy heart.
that was the interesting thing.
It was an
So,
interesting thing. And even if it was, well, I do believe that there was some energy that, I was aware of multiple attack, because at that time,
exactly, if you've got a healthy heart,
yeah,
know.
because at that time I wasn't as strong in my soul source stream. I was still struggling to find out who this, even though I was connected through the Mayan system, I still had
Resistance.
well, yeah, and also I had blockages from the injuries in my neck and my and infection and all sorts that came down, still feeling like very under hypervigilance and aware of everything that was coming against me. So that immediately causes autoimmune responses in the body, all sorts of things. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It creates a distortion
yeah, but
in many areas.
because of the love of the light, every opportunity is here to help. So I ended up having to go to hospital and confronting MK Ultra memories.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that
So
got cleared out while I was there. And and I ended up
it was facing the stuff that's at the bottom of the bucket, isn't it? The stuff you really
yeah.
didn't know was there or didn't want to face. So it
And
was
of
like,
course I was vulnerable too, because it was like what I couldn't express because I couldn't access, but it was there, was causing my blood pressure to go out of control, really.
yeah.
It was like
And
boiling blood.
you did come home, and we did journey into the blood pressure, and it did come down. How is it now?
um it's still
Still talking to you a bit.
it's still talking to me a bit, and the blockage is still there, and I'm just trusting and working on everything. I mean, the really good part of it is that I have no fear of death now.
Yeah.
I've seen into the future, and I've seen myself, and what you were saying before. A lot of what we do in the emotional journeys is we look at ourselves like 5 years in the future, 10 years in the future, and every time I've looked 10 years into the future, I can see that the light is so different on the whole planet.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
plasma-y, beautiful, shimmery,
Yeah.
like more tones of color than you
I
can
mean, I've seen pink dolphins, I mean, at some point I was like, is this real? Because I'm obviously in a different dimension, so it's not this one, but you get to another dimension and you go, wow, is this like you don't realize your mind is still having this connection with your human mind that's going, oh wow, this is outside of my normal uh memory of my species, my animals, my plants, just because you're seeing in a new dimension different plants, different colors, different creatures, your brain, when you're trying to think of other dimensions, it can't comprehend what it really would be like until you travel there. And if you travel there through these meditations or visualizations or
Yeah,
I was
it's
going to say
like
hallucinations. I don't think they're hallucinations, but I'm sure
no.
people do hallucinate and end up here in other
Well,
dimensions.
I think people end up having hallucinations when they're disconnected with the earth. So they
Yeah,
fail to be grounded, but on
yeah,
higher being they may be seeing truth, but then you can't actually embody it. You can't bring it into your being, and it's like
yeah,
people get lost, and then it can go into delusions of grandeur. It can go into all sorts of different scenarios if we don't have the balance. Um,
yeah.
with,
That's the grounding again, isn't it? To a memory or a visualization of something that
mm,
you can feel a feeling with that. When it's something that you don't know, like if it feels like a true reality, there's a
mm,
part of you that knows that's true because you exist there as well, right?
yeah, and so often
So,
people want to only stay there, and they
and so if it's a false light construct, it would be like, "Ugh, this doesn't feel good."
yeah, yeah, and that's the other thing is that if we're not fully anchored in, then we can go off and veer off and go sideways and be more connected to the Luciferian false light.
Yeah,
And very convincing because the frequency
yeah,
is still high, but it's not the highest of the high. It's not to the
yeah.
cosmic axis.
That's where I'm saying the energy feels good. It's not
Yes,
like great. It's not like drowning in love. It's just good. Like I'm manifesting and I'm creating.
and it
Uh,
catch the ego too because
yeah, it's
it,
all ego driven.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So of
and
course it's
people
going to feel good because it's designed to stroke the ego.
yeah, and then people, often, and then they'll have hierarchical thoughts like I'm more superior to this person or something. Where
I've done well. Look at my success.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and people do. They can conjure up all kinds of magic, which can actually give them that kind of success, and it can kind of keep them flying along on that. But when we come in and when we're really anchored in, and we will share the values, as you see, we will share the values of Mother Earth and Father Sky, and that everything is equal. Every
And flourish is allowed to flourish.
yeah, and
Yeah.
100% valuable and and,
Yeah.
and vital. And and yeah, it's just about really being into coming into our authenticity, like our pure authenticity, which is again taking off the programs, taking off the getting away from the distractions, maintaining that connection. So it's a lot of time being, you know, like um,
Yeah.
like I spend. I mean, my body's forced me to do that, and in some ways, I'm grateful now because
Slow down. Yeah.
yeah, because I've had to have a lot of time in stillness, a lot of time in meditation, a lot of time asking those bigger questions and grounding in the cosmic knowledge. So, cosmic knowledge can be received, but if we can't ground it in, then it's just going to turn into a mess. And so
Well, it doesn't get fully utilized and used and delivered.
that,
It's like a message that didn't get all the way through.
that's right.
Yeah. And so that's what we've been existing on. We've been existing on a trickle, or not a trickle, a small stream of energy because our bodies have been tight and blocked. And that's why, we really encourage the the things that are going to help this physical body, the mental body, the emotional body to unblock. Yeah, so that this can be streaming through you.
Yeah, and probably the other part, that there can be attachments as well. So the attachments can be from curses and all sorts, but there can be, what's common called jinn or entities or demons, which are part of the black magic spell type world that we have been under,
Yeah,
connected to the black sun. And so also, like,
the
if we're,
parasitical world,
yeah,
it's what we're in.
to intend and ask that all of those entities are cut away from us. And look, their population is much, 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 much reduced because so many people have dealt with these big entities, and that source has actually been transmuting them the way
Yeah,
source knows. Like when we go back into the dualistic kind of, in our thinking kind of thing, people often think, oh, there's perpetrators and I've got to get revenge. But there's none of that. When we're connected with earth and sky, we just flow into a harmony. It will get taken care of within that.
it's just density. It's just density that goes and harmonizes. It's not personal.
Yes, yes, yes. So together, we're all quite incredible. We're all quite amazing. And
Yeah, transmuting energy. Yeah.
to
And that's
create,
all we're asked to do. What you do with it is your business. If we connect and we create together, that's amazing. If we just stay within our own home and stay loving our body and integrating our light, opening and receiving our light, and having good practices of loving our bodies and our minds and ourselves and each other,
mm,
you can't miss the target. This is, taking care of itself in a return that was always going to be seeking itself. Yeah.
yeah, which reminds me of the harmonic resonance. And this is something that I learned very much with Marie, and getting the left brain and the right brain connected is speaking out the feelings, but we can also speak out our intentions. And that causes a
That's the creative force.
and that causes a reverberation that actually helps things to happen. So
Yeah, that's how we have created in the past.
yeah.
But
So
we just maybe weren't putting out the best intentions.
yeah, so a really good intention that people can have when you go into your meditation is to say, please show me what is the highest and best for my soul right now, and just receive and start, and you'll start to well, for me, we're all so different, so we
Be
perceive,
guided.
like I might get visions, sensations, words, feelings, and always in the breath. So, like breathing, you allowing your breathing to open, um, and really just taking time, and then that will be the best that you can do for yourself, because it ultimately comes from us, because we are that source shard. We're like that source fragment, or because source lives inside us. Like they say, the kingdom of God is within us, and this is the strength. And like coming into growing and maturing, we often have something external for such a long time, but when we realize that it's actually inside us, it's like we're never separated. And so that's how
Yeah.
we become the light.
That is the reunion. Welcome home, when you awaken to that awareness. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yep, and it'll just happen for each one of us at the right time, you know, and we just hold our arms open wide for everybody coming home, and there's lots to understand about the masculine and the feminine energies and things like that. But you don't have to know anything. All you have to do is open your heart and have that courage again to move past any pain back to the love. It'll just fill up. It's like filling up from source. It is
It's invitation.
incredible. It's incredible. And you just take your time with it. There's no rush to that, you know. You go at your own comfort zone.
Yeah,
But we all do and all will open because that's in our DNA to seek back the mother, to seek back the father, to seek the family
yeah.
of this humanity and integrate. So it will just happen
And
and
when it does,
take the pressure off.
we just get filled with gratitude, and you find yourself just saying, "Thank you, Source. Thank you, Mother Earth." But you know it's not worship, which was the illusion,
No,
the theory, and
it's the expression of the full cup of love, isn't it? It's like overflowing.
yeah, it's
It's
the
just
result.
so
It's not something
grateful.
it's not something you have to do, because when that people have the concept of an external source, external God, external, it's like you have to go to them by invoking worship or something. It's outside of you, but this is part of the illusion. And so yeah, when we are really, 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 really connected, it's just like we find the joy, we find the peace, we find that cosmic love, that connection. It's just like, oh my gosh,
It's
thank
a
you so
fountain.
much.
It's just
Yeah,
that infinite flowing fountain, like that toroidal fountain that's just ever filling and ever emptying and filling and emptying, and
yeah,
you know you can't be empty. The illusion is you are empty, but you're just flowing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And it's possible to do that even under great duress. It's amazing, and this is, to me, this is how I know this is really, really, really sure. um that, yeah, like you can be lying in hospital with a heart attack, and under very, very, very stressful conditions, but that is there, and
yeah, that faith.
can be
You had
there.
it turned on. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, there were still so many attempts to stop it and all of that, but you see, Mother Earth wants me, Father Sky wants me, and that's the thing, and that's what I want them. So it's like a two-way thing.
yeah, that is the reunion in that relationship, you know.
Yeah, the
You
long
you
belonging.
as you plug more and more and more into the earth, your
Mm,
body receives more and more and more love, and then it repairs what it's going to repair, you know, to the level of what it's going to repair. But
mm-hmm,
with more energy and more love, it's able to do that, isn't it?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, Poppy, is that everything that you
It,
imagined expressing?
I I
Any
feel like
final words?
I feel like it's quite complete.
Yeah. Thanks for coming along on our little ramble of the way Poppy and I talk and our sharings.
Yeah,
And if you got anything from that, it would be hope that there is women and men who see the vision of tweaked up little versions of Earth infinitely.
yeah,
And we're just in the transition between a change in dimensions where one really unhealthy um, control system nearly destroyed this beautiful place.
yeah.
And so this is actually a good story to be in the chaos and in the pain, and then even the uncertainty, because we're going to come into, after the shock of it, we'll come into the certainty, we'll come into the clarity, we'll come into the creativity of, okay, right, well, we're going to build better.
That's
That was a crock of shit what we just had for the last 1,000 years, and so
exactly.
let's learn from that, you
Yeah,
know, and that's how we get there. That's how we got there, you
yeah.
know.
So thank you so much for listening. We are here with you. We love you. We care
Yeah.
about you. We love Earth. We
It's okay to be in the struggle. It's okay to be in the resistance. It's okay to be in the pain. This will pass. And just breathe and feel held. And if you don't feel held, reach out to get some support to empty and release
Yep.
that pain
Make a call.
and liberation. Yeah,
I
reach
made
out
the
to us.
call. I made the call and it came.
True. Put out the prayer for a supportive network to help you.
Yeah.
And we do it all together, eh?
Yeah.
All right. Yay. I'll see you at the after party.
See ya.
Bye.